So today's webinar is how to generate paid lead clients with cold email. And I'm presenting with Rob Harlow from SoPro. Today is the 24th of October. Rob, welcome. Great to have you here.
No, great to be here. Thanks, Dan.
Cool. All right. So as per usual, guys, if you're turning up and you've got an hour off and you're taking that out of your busy day, then please do switch your devices and give yourself this luxury of 1 hour, and don't be distracted because there's absolutely here. And do yourself a favor and turn stuff off, shut the door, and just 1 hour of your time is all it's going to take. A little about me. You guys know me now, but I have paper lead agencies in the UK, Canada, and Asia, and I have my education program, Flexxable, which all of you guys know about. Rob, just a brief introduction to yourself, a little bit about what you've done in the past and what you're doing now, and yeah, just give us a brief overview.
Sure. So I run SoPro, which is a social prospecting agency that started, and all following kind of a really repeatable formula. One we're so kind of confident in that we publish all of our stats as benchmarks live on our website.
Nice. Okay. How did you get into cold email? And I know you're doing some stuff before, but what got you onto this kind of venture?
So Brian, my business partner, and I, we've always been back and forth starting various enterprises, looking at many different traffic streams. And one of the biggest frustration was a lack of consistency, and always trying to get Google ad campaigns up. Obviously, I'm sure all you guys will be aware of the challenges of paid ads, and we wanted to focus on a marketing channel that was really going to work and give us consistent results. And so it was a case of sitting down for 3 months in a room and figuring out, how to make cold email work in the best possible way. And then taking a really data-driven approach from there and just rinse and repeat and perfect it with each iteration.
Yeah. So you're using cold email to get yourself clients as well as it's in my opinion, it's always good for someone to be using their own system on themselves, similar to what we do with Flexxable. Flexxable is our education hub where we teach people how to build an agency, but we also have an agency as well. So are you doing that for your business?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've grown pretty quickly. We've doubled in size every year. And up until last year, pretty much our sole marketing channel was SoPro itself. So cold email.
Yeah.
This year, just by virtue of scale, we've had to diversify, but 85% of our clients still come in, through this approach.
Wow, amazing. And would you say, out of the people you have as your clients, is it mainly B2B or does B2C work as well?
It's 100% B2B.
Okay.
Yeah, the B2C market, regulations are probably the biggest thing around it. But just in terms of being able to target and focus, B2B just stands alone.
Yeah. So for everyone on this call, the reason why we're doing this webinar is to help you guys get more clients through cold email. And Rob's software is amazing, but it's all built on first principles of emailing, and we're going to take you through that today. But if you want to get more clients by cold email, then I doubt there's anyone else in the world that's probably going to be to have this level of experience. So there's some really good information here. So a little bit about my story and cold email. I probably sent about 1,000 cold emails in my lifetime, like not many at all. And we have a client who spends a little bit more than that now, but probably $15,000 per week just from cold email via LinkedIn. So what happened is I found this person via LinkedIn. I did a bit of research and due diligence and found their email. I can't remember whether it was via LinkedIn itself or I went to their website and found an email and then outreach to that person. But this was a strategy that landed this type of income, and it can just be one email to the right person at the right time, and it's going to make a big difference to your agency if you do make it work. So as an agency, we haven't systemized cold email at all. It's just when me or one of my sales team members have time, and we only follow up when we remember, which is quite bad. So we might have a warm lead that comes in and looks like they're interested in doing some business with us, but then 2 weeks passes and we forget to get back to them. So we're definitely not very good at it. And we've recently had Rob help us, and it's working out really well. The other thing is B2B lead generation is really hard to do with Facebook ads. So if you're trying to land a client through like running a paid ad campaign, I'm not saying it can't be done. In fact, I know it can be done, but it's a little bit harder to find that diamond in the rough, a big company that's going to, you know, type of revenue into your business. So it's smart to look at different avenues rather than just getting some ads up. And our marketing is consisted primarily of direct mail and LinkedIn outreach. And we have a few previous webinars from the last couple of months, which talks about how we do this via LinkedIn, how we do this via direct mail, and how all of that works. Okay, so if you need links to those pages, send us an email at support@flexxable.com and help you get access to those webinars. But if you look on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find them there pretty easily as well. Rob, a bit about your story.
Yeah, so I've covered a few areas on this. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, Dan, one of our biggest accolades is really using SoPro to grow SoPro.
Yep.
And we actually extended that concept just over 3 years ago to start a tech incubator, where we actually use SoPro to grow many other early stage companies, which has worked fantastically well. And we actually have an incubator group of 10 other early stage B2B startups, all of which are profitable, all of whom's primary marketing channel is SoPro, which is, yeah, it's great.
Wow. So what type of businesses are these businesses?
Really diverse. I think literally the only thing that ties them together is a B2B element. So it's everything from, we have a cryptocurrency business all the way through to one of the largest English testing businesses in Asia,
yeah.
Through to another social media agency. So it's really, really diverse, and I think it shows that the channel itself really does work in any B2B vertical.
Nice. How do you, I mean, I'm interested, how did you choose those 10 companies, and who are they, and do you have an interest in all of those 10 companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So while SoPro itself works across, yeah, pretty much every vertical you can think of, these particular 10, our incubator model works by taking equity for services, and so we have an interest in all of those. And really our only criteria is that it sounds like a good idea, the founders have the expertise to run the company,
yeah,
and we can fulfill the marketing services that they need.
The leads, basically.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Cool. So what are we going to talk about today? I think this is me, Rob. You can jump in at any time, but the main reason everyone's here, right, is because you're doing lead generation. You might be running an agency at the moment. You might be a freelancer. Most of you are probably running ads for someone. A lot of you are doing pay per lead at the moment, or looking to move to pay per lead. So the reason we're doing this webinar, obviously, is to help you guys land clients. I'll give you an overview of cold email generated through LinkedIn research and how you can do this for free. How to identify who to target and your one pain point to solve. How to get the email addresses to build your database to email. Why a case study helps, or how your process works if you haven't got many case studies. Rob's done a lot of testing in this space. Obviously, I don't know how many millions of emails. I think you said 5 or whatever, but I think you've tested one email all the way up to 7 or 8 different emails and sequences that you guys use, and you've come to the realization that 4 emails works best.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, four is the number.
Yep. Why your email signature is so important. Mailshake how to keep organized. I've never used Mailshake, but Rob says it's a fairly decent free-ish tool that's super cheap. And a bit about SoPro and how it supercharges the above process. So we want you guys to be able to get started on cold email with relatively low costs. But if you are interested in supercharging this process, and you're a more established agency that's just looking to scale the shit out of your agency, then SoPro is something that will really be able to help you. And we'll talk to you a little bit about how that works as well. But the best thing, and why I'm so excited about cold email and the pay per lead model, is we have such a strong offer. I've spoken about this before. We don't have to sell a 6-month contract. We don't have to sell a combination of Google Analytics, website design, conversion rate optimization, Google AdWords, YouTube ads. We're not doing stuff on a complex retainer type basis. All we have to do is create leads for our clients, and we have one job and one job only, which makes our offer very, very clear and very, very strong. So if you use some of the methods that Rob's talking about today, you're going to get more leads than you know what to deal with. So remember that you almost have an unfair advantage. And it's not just us that's done well with cold email, even though we've been doing it wrong. Okay, this is one of our recent students who's joined our mastermind program, and he sent out one cold email to 30 solar companies regarding the pay per lead offer, and every single one of them got back. So he has a handful with all these opportunities. So this is not even with Rob's templates and his expertise. This is just someone putting together a quick template and reaching out, and that's the kind of results that you can get. It's exciting. So Rob, how does your system work?
So I think one of the key words here really is system, and you mentioned earlier, Dan, that you've never systemized cold email, and it's really the core part is to have something that runs as close to autopilot as possible, religiously, day in, day out, delivering a number of emails and a number of follow-ups. It's a funnel that builds up over time. So as you can see, here's our typical rates on this funnel. If you send out 1,000 emails, you should expect somewhere around 14% of people to respond to that. Clearly, a lot of those people are going to be no's, or maybe contact me in the future. But we see somewhere between sort of 3 and 4% of all emails that go out will be people who are interested. And then the bit below the blue line is kind of what happens after that. That's typically industry averages of, we're going to pitch 75% of those clients. Half of those are going to get a proposal out, and then 1 in 3 of those proposals are going to close. So really, if you're sending out 1,000 first prospect emails every single month, you should be sitting there closing 5 deals a month like clockwork.
Yeah. Okay, so 1,000 emails. How many would you be able to send those using Mailshake in 1 month?
Absolutely. So one of the challenges with doing this kind of process manually is that what you want to be doing is sending out a set number of emails every single day. Now, we've done loads of testing on this, and for us, the magic number is 50. Okay. So obviously 50, 20 working days in a month is 1,000. It doesn't all work out like that. Obviously, you don't want to be sending out if you're out of the office, because nothing worse than sending someone a first email and then them replying and getting an out of office. That kills that conversation dead straight away. But yeah, give or take 50 a day. Initial first prospect emails is the number. And as you mentioned earlier, and as we'll go through shortly, sort of 4 emails is the ultimate chain. So a week later, you're sending 50 first emails and 50 chasers. A week after that, you're sending 50 first emails, 50 first chasers, 50 second chasers. And so 4 weeks into the process, you're actually sending out up to 200 mails a day from 4 different stages.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And I mean, to give you an idea, you guys that are listening, an idea, you build a $1 million agency with 7 clients, and you're talking about using this system, getting 5 clients per month, Rob, from cold email. So that can give you an idea of the potential here. I'm not saying each of those 5 clients are going to be big players, but it's likely that if you stick with this for a 12-month period, you can have a 7-figure agency. If you know how to generate the leads, obviously, off the back of that. But it's exciting, the potential here. So how can you do this? How can the guys that are listening to this call do this for free-ish, Rob? And how much cost is involved?
So yeah, the reason for sort of titling this free-ish, clearly it can all be done for free, but it's a real challenge. It's just about doable when you're sending those 50 emails a day. As soon as you need to start sending the follow-up emails, looking at who's responded, who's asked not to be sent again, it starts to just become unwieldy, and it takes longer to manage than it does to actually than hours in the day. So what I've tried to put here is a collection of tools that help with the 3 individual stages, and those stages are research, identify, and engage. So the first stage, research, you need to find the right people to reach out to. Goes without saying, if you send 50 emails to someone who's in completely the wrong industry, you're going to get no response. So really nailing down that target is essential. LinkedIn's our primary source for this. However, really, in order to maximize that value, you need to get the data out of LinkedIn. And listed a couple of tools here, Linked Helper and Phantom Buster. These are third-party tools, nothing to do with us. They're both things we've used in the past, and I know other people use with pretty good success. Linked Helper is a slightly hands-free option. Phantom Buster requires a bit more technical knowledge, but really you can use them both to take a search from LinkedIn, loop through it, and the output being those search results, those people and their companies in an Excel sheet.
Yep.
So that's great. That's your target audience. The next step is what we call identify, and really it's making sure you go through that and you find their email address. It's a really key step, this, for a couple of reasons. One, email is a far better medium to contact people than directly through LinkedIn. You get about 100 times the response rate.
Wow.
And secondly, from a compliance point of view, B2B marketing is totally compliant with all GDPR regulations. However, if you look at someone's email address that they may use on LinkedIn, you don't know that it's their business address. It's more likely a Gmail address or a Hotmail or their social network address. Yep. It's not safe to use. So the key thing is you take a list of people, the companies they work for, and you figure out their email address.
Yep.
So we've got a few tools. Again, our systems are all in-house. And I've listed the SoPro tool set there at the top. We've got a pretty generous free tier on that, and we can literally just take these CSV files and find you the email address. We get a pretty good hit rate. We're pretty confident we will beat most other commercial offerings.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of alternatives. There's plenty of these companies out there, but I've included these 2 for some specific examples. Voila, Norbert. It finds a lower number of email addresses, but they're all very good quality. They're likely to deliver.
Yep.
And Hunter at the other end, it does a great job of finding a really high percentage of emails. However, your trouble is they're not all going to work. And you can very quickly blow up an email address and stop it delivering if you try sending to too many invalid email addresses.
Interesting. So the research, correct me if I'm wrong, is to find the companies or the person, and then you use identify to get their email address. How does it work exactly?
Yeah, exactly that. And there's 2 steps. So research it's ultimately to find the person.
Yeah.
But there are really 2 routes into that. If you're selling an HR-based solution, then actually you don't care too much about the company. You just want people who work in HR.
Yeah.
If you're selling something that's a bit more industry specific, so it's for plumbers, for example, then actually in that case, you want to find plumbing companies and then probably the owners or founders or managing directors of those plumbing companies. Whichever way you go about it, sort of LinkedIn supports various levels of searching, either an accounts first if you want to search companies, or profile first if you want to search people. The output's still the same. The output is still the name of the person, the company they work for, and the domain name of that company.
Okay, so you'll find their name, their first name, their surname, and the company, and then you'll plug that information into one of these identify tools, and it'll spit out the email of that person.
Absolutely, yeah. That's exactly how it works.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Then the third stage, engage, and this is actually the email sending and management part of it. And I've included sort of 3 different options here. I haven't mentioned the fact you can do this manually through email. I don't really believe it's possible to do that at any kind of scale. But if you do use Gmail and really like working within the Gmail inbox, there's a tool called Vocus, V-O-C-U-S, which is really powerful. And we actually use it internally for high value accounts. So where we are really focusing on maybe a list of 100 or 200 accounts, and we want to make sure everything happens, we do use that.
Okay.
Typically, you want to be working at the 50 a day level, which means you need another level of automation. And Mailshake, it's not full featured, but in terms of cost versus features, it's about 25 quid a month.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. You can load in the data. You can specify what your first, second, third, and fourth email templates are going to be, and they're sent on an agreed schedule. And each template is populated with the relevant fields from the data.
Okay.
It's easy to use.
25 quid's about 40 US dollars, I suspect, depending on with Brexit at the moment.
Yeah, it might even be. Yeah, it might even be in dollars. I don't know.
Okay.
The third one I've listed on there again is if you're of a more technical mindset, Mautic is very powerful. It's an open source product. It's like the WordPress of marketing automation, but it does require a bit more knowledge to set it up. So it's effectively free, but there is a trade-off in terms of the time you'd spend managing it. Okay,
cool. All right, so let's talk about identifying.
Cool. So again, LinkedIn is the perfect database for this. And there's a few straight up criteria that you want to be looking for. Who is it you want to be talking to is the key. Really probably one of the most important. Is it the owners? Is it like a marketing director? If you're targeting a smaller company, when I say small, anywhere from 10 to 50, probably 10 to 200, maybe even people, then actually, you want to be going for the top roles, the CEOs, managing directors, founders, chairman, any word you can think of that fits that senior role, because they're the people, the decision makers, and they're small enough that they're involved in the day-to-day.
Yep.
Larger companies, so anyone of a few thousand employees and above, we tend to split that up and try and intentionally hit different roles, different departments, even different countries.
Yeah.
Really key part of this is negative keywords, and LinkedIn allows negative keywords to be put in. But what you'll find if you search for CEO or founder, you'll get a lot of PAs to the founder or executive assistants, and you need to remove those from your search because you're not going to be sending the same message clearly.
Yeah.
Industry, really clearly very important as well. And an interesting one, sort of as I touched on before, a lot of people will list themselves on LinkedIn where the industry is their job role. So someone in HR often lists their industry as HR, which you probably don't want to know. You want to know the industry their company's in. So it's one to really look out for. You want to make sure you're targeting the industry of the company, not the industry that the individual's listed.
Okay.
And then the other key one is number of employees. And we tend to actually target based on turnover and roughly base that on £100,000 or about $150,000 a year per employee.
How do you get that turnover figure?
So if we're looking at, if we're talking to, say, a SoPro client and they've got a 12-month sales cycle and it's a deal size of £100,000 plus, they're looking for particular size companies, and they've typically got a very good view of the size company they want to target, and it's someone with a £10 million plus turnover.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to target like that. So as a rule of thumb, we would just take the 10 million, divide it by 100,000 and search for that number of employees, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Someone's just asked, can you share an example of how you use negative keywords to remove CEO PAs to isolate the correct email?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the way that LinkedIn search works. It's Boolean logic. So there's a lot of brackets, a lot of ands, and a lot of nots. What I'd be able to do is send probably a more complete example after the session. But just as a very brief one, you can literally have. I'll type it into the chat.
Cool.
So director, not PA.
Okay.
You can include ands. You can have director and not PA, or assistant, or executive, etc.
Okay.
But I'll make a note, and actually, we got some pretty good examples that I can send around after the call.
Cool. Sounds good. I guess we haven't thought this far in advance. I know people will want to get in contact and things like that. So we'll probably just do it through our support desk.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you're more than happy to answer questions, but yeah, I think that probably makes sense if you control that.
Pass anything on. Yeah.
Cool. There's a load of other targeting available through LinkedIn. It's worth just playing around and see what's relevant. I would say 95% of our targeting is industry, size, and the job title. It's very, very rare you can't nail it with that.
Perfect. Right. What problem are you solving? So was this me or you?
I think why don't you take this from a paper lead?
Yeah.
Point, and I'll jump in if need be.
Yeah. Okay. So the problem that you're solving is pretty similar for most of the people on this call. You're all in different industries, but we know that these people are being chased and harassed by agencies all the time, right? And they might be getting hit up from people in India that are trying to, offer them SEO services and page one rankings, and then you've got an AdWords agency that's reaching out and wanting to supply them AdWords services and charging huge fees. And, there might be someone else that's saying that their website needs to be fixed and it's a piece of crap and it's never going to work for them. So they're being hit up by multiple different parties. None of them are solving the problem, which is what they really want, and that is leads into their business, because we all know that leads are the lifeblood of any business, really. I mean, Rob knows this as well as I do. He's built a large business off the back of it. So that's the pain point, really, is that people don't know what they want sometimes. And offering them, qualified leads into their business is the problem that you're solving. You're not being paid on a retainer, a complex contract or anything like that. And you're pretty much delivering them leads, and you're guaranteeing them results. If you don't deliver the leads, then they don't pay. All right. So you have a powerful situation here, and you can definitely a problem, and it's pretty obvious what the solution to that problem is.
I'd really second that as well, Dan. It's being on the other side of the sort of the marketing agency. We get this as an objection quite a lot. And we work with countless marketing departments, and everybody's core metric is cost per lead. And they know the first 3 to 6 months of working with anyone, they're just boiling everything down to a cost per lead for comparison.
Yes.
And if you overcome that objection from, well, it's not even overcoming an objection. You've kind of removed that from day one. It's not a sale. It's just what they want.
Yeah, exactly. And they know that if they get 100 leads in, they need to be able to convert 10% of them. And the average order value for those 10 people is $3,000, which means that they're getting 30,000 worth of revenue in from 100 leads. And it's easy to figure out what their cost per lead is that they can pay you off the back of that. And, you know, I might be going on a bit of a tangent here, but it's been running a lot of traffic on YouTube lately, Twitter, Facebook. Everyone now has a cost per lead objective when you're running your campaigns, right? So you can even tell someone like YouTube what you want to pay per lead, and they'll go and get you those leads for that price, pending your creative and your targeting, etc. But we have their ability now to know that we can get the leads for $25 and sell them on for $60 if the quality's there. And we're entering a special time in history, really. And I think the way that agencies are going and the way the future is for us digital advertisers is that pay per lead's the way forward, which is why all of this excites me. Anyway, I digress. Building out your database, Rob.
Yeah, so as we touched on in probably a bit more depth previously, LinkedIn is our go-to to identify target prospects. You could do this with the free version, but it is very limited. If you're going to go for one of the paid options, there's quite a range. Then Sales Navigator gives the best searching. There's a 30-day trial. It's I think 60 or 70 pounds a month thereafter. But the 30-day trial is more than enough to get a load of data from. Even if you stop after the 30 days, you've probably got 3 to 4 months worth of data, but also just to get a feel for whether it's going to be of value. Really where the value is going to be, as I mentioned, is getting the data into Excel or Google Sheets. And manually is an option, but it's a lot of copying and pasting, and it gets tiring pretty quickly. I know you can use a VA. We don't use these tools, but we would go for the tool approach. I'll put a disclaimer there. It's clearly this type of automation is not within the LinkedIn terms. It's important to understand that if you go too hard, too fast, your LinkedIn count is at risk.
Yeah.
But realistically, you'll get a warning, or you'll get a second warning before anything happens. In our entire time running, we've got some really robust tech now, but as you can imagine, in the start it was less robust. We've never ever had an account suspended, never had an account shut down.
Wow.
So it's worth highlighting as a risk, but it's possibly not the biggest one.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So pre-email work. So you've identified who your prospects are. You've done the searches, you found who they are, and you've got your database now. So what happens next? So
this is where this is probably one of the steps where the manual phase is unavoidable, and it pays huge dividends as well. Number one point there is to clean your data. We've done a load of research on the number of points of personalization that should go into an email. Anything lower than 3 doesn't perform too well. Anything higher than 6, you get diminishing returns from. So you really want to aim from somewhere between 3 to 6 points of personalization in an email. And they would typically be the recipient's name, their industry, their company size. And so if you're going to refer to these things in the email, you need to make sure you're referring to them in the right way. We use a term called informalization. And what I mean by that is, let's say you find someone, let's say you're targeting Barclays. Then on LinkedIn, they're going to be listed as working for Barclays PLC. But in your export file, you're going to have them as Barclays PLC. But if you send someone an email going, "Hi there, I'm looking for the right person to talk to at Barclays PLC," instantly, when someone reads that, they know that's not been typed manually. They know that's been automated. Nobody would refer to Barclays PLC in that way. So you need to replace it with just Barclays. And similarly, you'd want to remove LLCs or LTDs or anything that is, or even in some cases, just rewrite a company name so that it looks more appropriate.
Yep.
That happens. That's really the same for all data fields. People will include doctor or esquire or their qualifications on their names. You need to remove all of those as well.
Okay, cool.
So once you've done all that, sorry, go on.
Is that because when you use Mailshake or whatever tool, it's going to pull those fields into the template that you have, which means it'll just, when they read the email, it'll just be not gibberish, but it'll just look like it's come from India or something like that. Exactly.
I mean, it's going. Really, the purpose of these emails, and we'll come on to some exact template examples shortly. But you're trying to give across the impression that you found this person on LinkedIn, thought, I really want to get in touch with you, and you've knocked out a quick email to them. And it's more important to look like that, even than spelling or grammar or subject lines. Anything that suggests to the user it's automated, and people are very good at subconsciously picking up hints because you get so many automated emails, will destroy your delivery rate and response rate.
Yep, makes sense.
So I mean that's really worth doing, and just spending a right amount of time on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I imagine it wouldn't take long. You got 50 emails, you'd probably take you 10 minutes just to go through and amend stuff quickly.
Not exactly. And I mean, over time, you formularize this in Excel, and you're replacing all of the common phrases automatically, and it's a handful. So it might take an hour or two, no more than that.
Yep.
So I've also just noticed a question in the chat regarding sort of what too hard means, and I'm assuming that's probably related to the LinkedIn. There's no published levels on how hard you can hit LinkedIn, obviously. We make sure we don't view more than 400 pages in a day. Okay. And that's a level that we are very comfortable with internally. Has never caused us problems. So realistically, you can pull off 400 records in a single day.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, so back on the emailing. What's also key, get a new email account on a new domain. Even in the world of email marketing, 50 a day is not a lot. Even 200 a day is not a lot. However, over time, it does add up. And the last thing you want to do is have any kind of potential of negative reputation on your main email domain. It's great if you can get these prospects in, but if they're not getting your replies because they're going to spam, it's going to cause you a load of problems. So Gmail, it's dead easy. It costs a few dollars, a few pounds a month for a Gmail on a new domain. It's got super good deliverability. There's just no reason not to do that.
So for you guys running your campaign for us at the moment, you've got Dan at flexdigital.co.uk as opposed to Dan at flexdigital.com.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's slightly paranoid, I guess, and it's very rare that we do see deliverability problems. However, if you're going to see them, you want to make sure it's on a domain that you can just stop, switch onto a new one, and not have to worry about. So it's just always do that.
Cool.
Then next up, just make sure one of the other parts that is slightly more manual, unless you've got some really sophisticated email automation, it's just making sure that you don't hit more than one contact per company per day if it's a small company, because straight away people compare emails. It's clearly automated.
Yeah.
If they're larger companies, we say 2 per day. We don't really have any problems with that, and maybe 3 or 4 would be safe. But these are the metrics we use internally.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Actually, someone just asked Dan Baber. Companies like Mailshake charge around $50 per new email account. Is there another option that you can have multiple emails on?
So Mailshake, it's been a while since I've used it. I think when I used it, it was $25, but that was per email account. However, what they do support is the concept of aliases. And if this is for your own internal emailing, then you can set up a number of aliases on a number of different email domains within the single Mailshake account. So you don't have to pay for an additional one. I know when we've looked at it in the past, we have had to pay for additional ones, but only when it's someone else's account entirely. So I would say for your personal one, you can definitely get away with one.
Yeah, cool. Jan has just said, will you give a recording of this webinar? Yep, and top 5 webinars since many years. Oh, thanks, mate. We'll put this up on our YouTube channel and post it in our Facebook group after this, probably tomorrow.
Cool.
Next.
I'm going to skip over the awesome email template, just because we've got several slides on that shortly.
Yeah.
You mentioned email signature earlier. It's really important, the email signature, partly because it gives a nice professional sign off, but also because you don't want to be including links or obvious call to actions in your email, because again, people look at that, they think marketing. So that your email signature is where that goes. And in my one, for example, we have a list of all the awards. We have links to our explainer videos, obviously links to the website, telephone, email, everything possible you can ram in there in a really nicely designed template. And we get currently around about 20 to 21% of all emails we send result in a click. And those clicks are coming from the footer onto the website.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really important to get that in there.
Wow.
We do also include a disclaimer. And I know most emails include a disclaimer, but it's always been a bugbear of mine, and I read that there's never ever in the history of email been a legal case brought where the disclaimer at the bottom of an email has been cited. It's just one of those things people have. So it's not needed, but it does serve a useful purpose where you can bury an opt-out link in there, because you need to have an opt-out link. You need people to be able to say, don't send me emails.
Yeah.
It's considered best practice by the ICO. It's not considered mandatory. In the US, it is mandatory because of CAN spam.
Yeah.
But even where it's not mandatory, it's very advisable because people think it is and they expect it. And there's no benefit to making it harder for people to opt out.
Yeah.
And then privacy policy. So that is really important, as is pretty all-encompassing, covers off GDPR, because we're in obviously UK, EU, and in the US. And so, we cover off GDPR and CAN spam. So if you wanted to steal ours, feel free.
Okay, cool. There's a few questions coming in now. We'll get them to the end just because we're kind of running out of time.
Okay.
Cool. So, all right. So because we're running a campaign with you guys at the moment, what I've done is I've put a case study in my email signature. And for those of you who don't have case studies, it's not always required. Okay, what you can do, and this works for us, is we can show the prospect how our system works, right? Because they might be thinking, okay, a lead generator, that's great, but these leads might not be good quality or whatever. So you could create a case study that shows how their lead is going to be great quality, because they have to go through an advertorial and then through to a quiz, which has got 12 steps in it. Or you could show the prospective client that you segment out 60% of the leads that aren't a good fit with them and you send them to somewhere else, or you can give those leads to them on a back-end deal. There's plenty of ways to have a case study that's not exactly a client testimonial if you're new into an industry. And we do this quite a lot when we've got a prospect that's interested in our services. We'll sometimes, show them what it would look like for their potential with their domain or their lead gen funnel. You just have to get a little bit creative, and something like that can work really well. Just drop that in. And Rob's saying that you add a link to study in your email signature, not in the email body at all. And why is that, Rob?
Absolutely. And I see a question come through from Eric on that. We don't put links anywhere in the emails, and we've got countless case studies and split tests we've done, and it always, always, always performs better to have a link in the signature. At a maximum, then you can refer to the link in your signature, saying, if you want to view my case study, there's a link in my signature. But really, again, every test we've done hasn't shown an uplift in clicks from doing that. Interesting
stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so now onto the templates. I'm not sure whether you guys are going to be able to read this. We didn't think too much. We're going to give these guys some templates after this call. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just really, I'll give you some brief examples of how we populate the emails.
Yeah.
These aren't necessarily ones we send. And as Dan said, if you drop an email through to support, we'll send over our top 2 or 3 best performing templates of the last 60 days, which are much better examples. But what these really do show is the simplicity of an email. And it's really, really important. No marketing speak, no hyperbole, no talking about how excellent a particular service is. It's really quite formulaic. It's hi, insert first name. Maybe a point or 2 of personalization in the first couple of sentences. That could be the weekday, could be the month, ideally the company. Really just giving a very brief outline as to why you're contacting them. Then next paragraph, or maybe next 2 paragraphs, are focusing in on why you're an expert, why they should be listening to you about that problem.
Yeah.
And again, a couple of points of personalization. In this case, we've used size. We informalize size, so in working with other small organizations, mid-size, large, enterprise, that would be also populated.
Yeah.
And a really important part as well is the call to action. We never use, we have been forced to split test by a number of clients, sort of Calendly style links where people book events or meetings direct in the calendar, but they never work. I mean, you'll get a handful of responses, but in all of our tests, it's performed at about 20% of simply asking someone if they're free for a brief chat and giving them a couple of options.
Yeah.
And in this example, we said, we have some automated variables. Our system's a bit more sophisticated, but it will automatically say, it's a Thursday today. So the email will go out and it would say, do you have a few minutes early next week? If you send it out on a Monday, later this week.
Yeah.
It might be even easier just to say, do you have 15 minutes next Thursday? Really giving someone that kind of a call to action really works.
Yeah. So to clarify then, having a Calendly link, once hub, and asking those people to book in a slot with you, it has 1/5 of the results as opposed to personalizing and say, are you free on maybe Monday or Tuesday next week?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been hit up like that before, and I actually feel it's a bit rude asking me to make all of that effort to book the call in with you. It's happened to me a few times where someone's been, I've been trying to buy something or some education or whatever, and I'm speaking to the person, and then he's like, actually, now you can go and, find something that fits for you, and you can perhaps speak to one of my colleagues or something like that. And it's very impersonal. It actually pisses me off. So I can see how it's a big difference, to be honest.
Cool. Yeah. So, but an email one, the key thing is just really keep it simple.
Yep. Okay.
I see we've got a spelling mistake on our mobile one, as has been pointed out. But I mean, like I said, these are more to give an example of the personalization, and we'll send across some proper ones.
Of course.
Email 2. We'll send a very short nudge. It's always a forward of the original email.
Yeah.
We do it 6 working days later, typically, because the reason for not doing it 5 is if you send it on a Monday, the next one goes on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You could do it 4 if you want to be more aggressive, but it's key to try other days. But really, it's a really straightforward, hope you received my email, just giving you a quick nudge. And it really does get a lot of responses.
Yep. All right, cool. Email 3.
So email 3 takes a slightly different tack, where we're asking for a referral. And simple example on the right. I don't want to keep bothering you if you aren't the right person. Could you let me know who in the company deals with, you know, whatever you're offering?
Yeah.
However, if you get a response to that, they're incredibly strong. So if you follow up the referral saying, yeah, hi, Peter told me to get in touch, you get a cracking response rate, particularly if you've been targeting CEOs, managing directors, or high-level people. They've passed you on to someone who effectively works for them. You get 100% response rate, and it leads to some really great conversations.
Yeah, because their job's on the line, I guess, if they're not referring to something from the boss.
Well, people certainly feel that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit of playing on that, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. What do you mean by the subject lines? SoPro. Okay, so give me an example if that's me reaching out to, say, a solar company. What would that say?
So we typically don't mention anything about leads, marketing, or the service in a subject line. Keep it really generic. So this would be this example. If the solar company is called Solar City,
Yeah.
It literally could be Solar City / Flexxable intro, or okay, Solar City intro brief chat, or Flexxable intro brief chat. Something very generic and just straightforward. What you don't want is people to be able to make a decision not to open your email from the subject line.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Our highest ever open rate, which was 67%, came from when we accidentally sent an email out without a subject line. So, really go straight. People will click in just to find out what it is.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool. All right, email 4.
So just email 4, we've tried 5, 6, 7. But what happens after email 4 is your percentage of negative responses really starts to ramp up. And it's just not worth it, because what you end up doing is burning a load of data, which you could reach back out to in 3 months or 6 months' time. So email 4 for us has been really sort of the magic number. And we aim for a response, even if it is a negative one. This is an example of where we use humor, and we'll give people very set options. You're all set, don't stop bothering you. You're interested but haven't had time to respond. I should follow up in 3 months, and the follow-up gets a lot of responses. Yeah. And the 4th one, you're being held captive by a ninja kitten, or something equally kind of generic and a little bit tongue-in-cheek. And we get a lot of 4s, and they actually start conversations. And I've no idea what the percentage is, but we've definitely had people who've come back reacting to the funny one, and ultimately ended up as customers.
Awesome. All right. Verification. Tell me a bit about this.
So this really comes back to a point earlier where I was looking at the identify stage when you find emails, and what's really, really, really key. And I can see we've also got a question about sort of volume of emails that you can send. One of the things about email deliverability, staying out of spam boxes, and being able to send a lot of emails is making sure that over 90 and ideally 95% of the emails you send don't bounce.
Yeah.
If you start bouncing 5% or 10% or worse more, then your email reputation really, really goes down. And companies like Gmail take a really dim view, and they will suspend your account.
Okay.
So what's really key is to verify emails. And there's a few different services that do this. I've mentioned SoPro Toolset. We do it for free. And what it will do is tell you whether an email is definitely legitimate, or definitely going to bounce, or unknown. And unknown is down to sort of the nature of how this technical setup works, is unavoidable. But what we've done, because we've been doing this for many, many, many years, we do provide a risk score and a percentage likelihood of deliverability. Yeah. So really, you can put the emails into the verifier, and it will give you a yes, send it, no, don't send it, with the aim being that you end up with over a 90% deliverability rate. And in terms of geography, it works all over the world in exactly the same way. It uses SMTP, which is the underlying technology, so all geos are exactly the same.
Amazing. Okay. So you say you call them Satoshis. What are they exactly?
So it effectively works on a credit basis. Our credits are called Satoshis. I don't know if anyone's into crypto. It's the divisible part of a Bitcoin. We're crypto geeks, which is why we introduced it. But effectively, a Satoshi is a credit.
Yep.
Anyone who signs up, there's no card required. You get 100 a month for free, and yeah, more than happy for anyone to give it a go. Stick in the code. I'm so flexible, and we'll put another 1,000 satoshis in there. It's a tool that's I'd say it's in beta. It's been in beta for a while.
Yeah.
We really welcome any feedback as well. It's because we use it internally. It may not be as glossy as we'd like. So yeah, any kind of feedback would be really welcomed.
Okay, so there's 6 tools that you got: email finder, email verifier, which is the one we're talking about here, right?
Yes.
Email config, delivery checker, awesome email awesomeness checker, market map. I mean, this could be a conversation for another day, but there's some good cool tools there, it looks like.
It's worth having a look. And I mean, the email awesomeness checker, for example, will tell you if you paste your email in. It will tell you if you're using too many words, your sentences are too long, you're using spam words, and it gives a really great score as to how this compares, which is based on the learnings from the thousands of email templates that we've had. And we work with a network of writers for our email templates, and they all have to pass a certain score, which I don't know off the top of my head, with the email awesomeness checker for the template to be considered.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Email config and deliverability checker, it's worth having a look at. It's more relevant when you're sending high volume. If you use a Gmail account and something like Mailshake, you're pretty much okay. That will take care of it for you.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So it's time to start. So for you guys, I mean, as you've been talking, I'm like, wow, if I was going to do this, it sounds like a lot of work, right? And if I was doing this manually or with Mailshake, I'd be a little bit overwhelmed just listening to kind of what you've been through here, Rob, because there's a lot, sounds like quite a few moving pieces. Sounds incredibly powerful, but how do we do this in the simplest, fastest possible way so people listening to this call can start generating some clients?
So I think the simplest way, and it's why I included sort of a number of these tools, is to allocate $200-300 to this, upgrade the LinkedIn, get linked helper, create a new Gmail account, sign up for Mailshake. That's going to be the suite of tools that you're going to need. Get yourself a tool set account, that's free anyway.
Yeah.
Do your search on LinkedIn and really just follow the steps that we've been through here. If you've got those tools and you're not trying to do it too manually, there are a lot of moving parts, but it is quite straightforward. The most important thing is that consistency, because if you even, we like to think we're going to get better results than anyone else, but it doesn't matter if the results are half. That's still going to result in 3 or 4 closed pitches a month. And the real thing is that consistency. It's the doing 50 every single day. The worst thing you can do is do it for a week and then stop, because you're effectively starting again.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could easily, I mean, you could do this yourself for the first couple of months and then hire a VA in the Philippines or whatever that can just take on this sales role and just do it consistently day in, day out. I mean, it's got to have an ROI, speaking from experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard not to get an ROI. I really do. I think following these steps and just focusing on the fact that the email template, it hasn't got to be perfect. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's just got to look like you emailed that person out of the blue because you really want to talk to them.
Yeah.
And you will get a response. It will work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're about to move on to the Q&A. What I'm thinking the best way for us to do this is when we upload this video to our YouTube channel, some links, maybe we can compile a link that will allow people to download the 4 email templates, maybe a couple of different versions. We'll put a link to the SoPro tool sheet, the tool page, and if there's anything I've missed out, we can just put a link to each of the different resources, which is going to help people get started in a organized manner, rather than having to reach out to us individually to support it Flexxable, and then having to respond to all you guys individually. I think it's better that we just put those links within the YouTube channel and you guys take it from there. So Rob, I'll have a chat to you after this call and we'll see if we can put together a little suite of resources for the peeps listening.
Great, sounds good.
All right, so Q&A. You've obviously got one of the world leading authorities here on cold email, guys. So if you've got any questions, please do ask us. Also, Rob, tell us, I mean, people are interested, right? So tell us a little bit about how SoPro works, so your product works, and as opposed to doing it manually.
So SoPro, as we've seen, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and some of them are manual. You can't get away from it. If you try and automate it all, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So effectively, what we do at SoPro, we have a load of technology, but also a load of people, and it's an account manager-led service where it's done on a concierge approach. And ultimately, we charge on a per prospect basis. And it's £2 a prospect, 750 prospects a month. So £1,500 a month is our cost.
Okay, cool. So that's sending 750 emails, new emails a month, not including all of the follow-up emails, right?
So 750, that's prospects with a valid email that's been delivered. So that would include the 4 email chain, as well as the reporting, monitoring, responses, everything like that.
Okay, cool. All right. Good stuff. Okay, so people are asking how much the cost of SoPro. So it's about £1,500 a month for 750 emails.
Yeah.
Using it at the moment, obviously, I can recommend. I've been blown away with what I'm seeing here, to be honest. Rob is asking the cost. We've spoken about. Steve's asking about the cost. Jeff is asking, do more than 50 emails a day?
Absolutely. There's the limit to emails, and this actually goes back. I did see a previous question about the limits in Gmail, and the limits in Gmail are about 1,000 a day. The reason I say about is they do change them if your reputation drops. Yeah. And that has been that's the limit if you're doing it through Gmail. If you're using another service, there is no limit. The reason we use 50 is it's about the right amount for someone to keep on top of. But there's no reason not to do 100 or 200. It's just making sure you can keep on top of the responses. And ultimately, these responses are going into a CRM process. And you're better off nurturing that CRM process rather than just filling the top of the funnel. Yeah,
makes sense. Jan is asking, what's the usual open rate of email? Would you go wealth management and make offers to the potential clients based on company role?
It's a really interesting question. So I mean, the usual opening rate, our average is 52% across all of our clients, all industries. And as you can imagine, it varies. Enterprise clients are slightly lower. You probably see about a 44%. Smaller companies, we're much closer to 60, but we average out at 52. Okay. Which is strong. Then, I mean, from the wealth management point of view, it is a challenging one. Strictly, it's B2C. So from a regulation point of view, you need to look at the country you're doing it in. If you're doing it in the US, for example, that's fine. As long as you identify who you are, you're compliant with CAN spam. If you do it in the UK, following the rules and the regulations, it's not compliant because it's B2C. That doesn't mean people don't do it. They target directors known as businesses over a certain size, knowing they're likely to want wealth management services, and may offer to look at their company finances or join an entrepreneurs club to add that B2B angle into it. Yeah. And really, ultimately, you got to weigh up that risk and how much you're comfortable with.
Cool. Okay. Lance is asking, have you tried Cody Butler's lead Lantern Dido for B2B emails? I'm not sure what that is, Lance. I know Cody, but I think it might be a bit different to that. Cody might be doing some kind of tool that scrapes and then contacts people inside LinkedIn, which is different what we're talking about here. We're using LinkedIn as a way to get contacts.
There's a load of tools that will, there's a load of tools that will find emails. It's probably tens or hundreds of them. I said the key thing is always make sure you marry it with an email verifier, just to keep that bounce rate up. And I've noticed Jeff said, any tips to protect email reputation? Really, the best way to protect your email reputation is verify every single email. Even if it feels painful that you might throw away 15% of those emails because you're not sure they're going to deliver, it's much, much, much better than sending them and blowing up your email rep. It's the one thing that will really, really destroy your email reputation.
Yeah, cool. Rob's asking, what results have we seen so far? So Rob, with our offer, we've seen 70% open rates, and which is way above average apparently.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I can't remember, but I think we're looking at, you know, roughly 5% lead rate, but we're only in month one. So it's relatively early, but we've had some conversations already. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I mean, just as the way our SoPro service works, we don't expect to see, we expect to see kind of month one getting up to about 30-40% of what the lead rate will be, and then that building over the first 3 months as the chasers go out and the targeting gets better. So to be at that lead rate this early is really, really promising.
Yeah, cool. Lloyd, out of 750 outbound emails, how many translate into sales calls on average? So that was the top of the presentation there. I think you said roughly 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, I mean, if we go for 5%, it's a bit over egging it, but to be honest, the maths is slightly easier. So it's about 30 to 35 sales calls, we would imagine.
Yeah, per month. Okay. Paul, I found this build list with linked helper a bit confusing, time consuming. Any luck with managed service like Cleverly?
I've not used Cleverly. In terms of a fully managed service, obviously that's what we do. So we've tended not to look too closely at other managed services. Linked helper is a bit rough around the edges, but in terms of the actual cost and the level of functionality it provides, it's hard to beat. But there is a bit of a learning curve, absolutely, and it's sometimes useful to think of it in terms of what it's trying to do, and ultimately you want to do as much as you can within LinkedIn, which is create the search, target the right people, and then the final thing is hit the button on linked helper to do the automation. But there's plenty of alternatives out there as well, and if there's something that works better, really the goal is get the data from LinkedIn into Excel. Yeah.
Cool. Jan's asking, do you recommend GMAS? I've got no idea what that is.
It's not, you could use it. I've never used it. I've come across it, but yeah, never actually used it myself. But it's another tool for automating. It's typically used for mass emails across multiple Gmail accounts. So back in the day of when B2C was a little bit easier, you could have 1,000 Gmail accounts and use GMAS, and your load would be balanced across them. There's no reason a similar thing couldn't be used for this. It's just no personal experience of doing it.
Okay, cool. Paul's asking, I know this was covered, but can you describe again the best practice to get proper email after getting the right contact from LinkedIn? So I can probably, you can jump in at any time, Rob, but from what I can tell, you find the name of the company, the name of the person on LinkedIn, and then you use that information into a verification tool, i.e. the ones you've got with the Satoshis or another company, and they will verify the email before you send it.
Yeah, so the key part is the company domain name, because that's their email domain. So it's their name and their email domain. But there's a number of tools. So really just find the one that works better. Some will have better coverage in different industries. Check out the tool set one. But just make sure you verify the emails that are found. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jeff's asking to post the cold snail mail letter template we use. Jeff, have a look through in our YouTube channel. You'll see the webinar about outreach via cold email, snail mail, and you'll see the post to the links there for that download. If one is converting at 50% of the fund, I guess the results just exploded, or depends on the level of the close, I guess. Yeah. Eric, how do you feel about personal handwritten letters? Again, that was all covered on a different webinar, guys, from a few months ago. You can check that out on my YouTube channel. Using proposals, why not close during the call? that comes down to your business model, I guess. Yeah. And Eric, you suggest your 4 template contact rate at 1 per week, or is there a different formula you're using?
Yes, is the short answer. The long answer is what we tend to do is go 6 working days between each email. So if you send the first one on Monday, then the next one goes the following Tuesday, then the following Wednesday, then the following Thursday. That way you're hitting people on different days of the week.
Sounds good. And you can do all that within Mailshake and choose those days, I imagine?
Yes, I believe so. Like I say, it's not, we obviously use our own tools.
Yeah.
Last time I used Mailshake, absolutely. But there's lots of others. GMass maybe one. Woodpecker is another. But yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to set those kind of automations.
Yeah. Previously mentioned, if you have another domain for an email, do you have a website for that domain as well? No, you don't need to, because it might be like my example, flexdigital.co.uk, and then you just have a link to the website within the signature. And you know, it's some people that are really picky might manually type in flexdigital.co.uk. There's nothing there, but I mean, worst case, you could set a redirect up or something like that. But
we do set up redirects typically.
Yeah. Okay.
We use Cloudflare to manage our to manage our DNS, which is really powerful. It's free, and we set redirects up there.
Okay, so you've done that for us, for example.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Cool. Jeff is saying link did not work. What link was that, Jeff? Rob, why don't you type in your toolset URL? Maybe that's the one he's talking about.
Right, yeah. Make sure I've actually typed that correctly.
There we go. Toolset.sopro.ie. There we go. Cool. Yeah, thankfully, Rob's given us some Satoshis, 1,000 free Satoshis there, which is going to set you guys off. On the Q&As, Julian's asking if we can watch this webinar recording later. Yes, we will. And Deji is asking, is it better to send direct message on LinkedIn instead of through emails?
In a word, no. You get about 10% of the response rate. You get responses, but it's a really saturated method of contacting people, and you'll get some response, but in terms of value for your time, email outperforms it 10 times comfortably. Okay,
cool. Yeah, and saying you signed up but did not receive the verification mail after 10 minutes. I'm not sure what you signed up to for, but technical issues, and I'm sure Rob will help you out after the call with you reach out to them.
Yeah, I'll get someone to take a look at that.
Cool. All right. Okay, we've just gone off just over an hour and a quarter, guys. Unless there's any other questions, I'm going to sign off here. A link to the email templates. So Rob, I'll speak to Rob, and I'll speak to Rob Harlow after this call, and we'll probably be uploading this webinar to YouTube tomorrow or the next day, and within that we'll put some resources so people can download the templates and everything that goes with it. I'll just need to liaise with Rob after this call. Jan's a pro. It's the best video I've seen for ages. Good.
Thanks, Jan.
All right. Well, Rob, thank you very much for your time. This has been incredible. Someone's asking how much is SoPro. I think it's £1,500 per month.
That's right, yeah.
All right, guys. If you've got any other questions, then our Ninja group on Facebook, if you just search for Paper Lead Ninjas, you'll find us there. Join our group if you haven't done already. I'm sure most of you have. And if you have any SoPro questions, please do reach out to us there or go through the support desk over at sopro.io. But Rob, thanks for your time. Everyone, thanks for attending. I'll speak to you soon.